After spending 30 years working in the corporate world, including 23 years at a major Hollywood studio, I decided to write a book. It's called From Graduation to Corporation, the practical guide to climbing the corporate ladder one rung at a time. Now I'm traveling the country, meeting business leaders at the top of the ladder to find out how they got there. I'm Andy Teach, and this is From Graduation to Corporation. We're in Lake Forest, California, at the headquarters of KME Systems Incorporated. It is one of the many technology companies that populate Orange County. Mark Essayian, president of KME Systems, graduated from nearby University of California, Irvine with a degree in physics. We'll find out how Mark went from college graduate to founder of a multi-million-dollar high-tech firm. What does KME Systems do?
KME Systems is an infrastructure provider for voice and data. We go in and help a customer decide what type of phone system they need, what type of networking they need, what type of technology they need in order to increase their bottom line. So it's really all about finding out what level of technology is appropriate for them and then installing it and then maintaining it for them long term so it ceases to become a headache for them. It becomes a business tool.
And how do your clients find out about you?
Actually, most of our business is through referral.
Okay.
We've gone after a couple of market verticals, healthcare, financial, and manufacturing. And as you can imagine, in any industry, people do change jobs or they belong to trade shows, etc. And then we actively ask them for referrals. We go in there and say to the CFO or to the owner, did we do a good job for you? Are you satisfied with what we did? Can you recommend us possibly to some people that are non-competitors? And we get most of our business that way.
Now, do you have them fill out a survey to get feedback, or do you ask them verbally?
We have a quarterly meeting with our clients that we go out to literally every 90 days and kind of play the virtual CIO role, or Chief Information Officer. We tell them what's going on inside of our industry, what technology might be good for them, and then we ask them a couple of questions. What are we doing right so we can do more of it? What are we doing wrong so we can do less of it? And what are we not doing that you need so we can do it? And so we do these QBRs, and it's typical in any type of employment practice, but we take that same standard and apply it to our customers, our very important ones, and we say, what are we doing properly for you? So we have that constant line of communication, and it's different than sending out a survey. This is, you get some real feedback from them, and then you also have some FaceTime with them so they stay, quote-unquote, sticky to you.
You grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. How did that influence your career, if at all?
Well, my dad was an engineer for the Nevada test site. And so I kind of grew up around engineering types of folks and kind of in the scientific environment. So it was interesting. I always wanted to know what he did, but because it was classified, I couldn't ever really know what he did. But we got to go to family days at the Nevada test site where we were authorized to go around and see certain sections of it. And if you've never been there, it's pretty interesting to see where they did atmospheric testing of atomic weapons and then, of course, underground testing. And it kind of piqued my interest about how these things actually work.
You went to the University of California, Irvine, and you majored in physics.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take any nuclear-related subjects?
Yeah, I was really interested in the elements of matter. Why was the sky blue? People say that, why is the sky blue? Well, actually, I can answer that question for them, and then they look at me like, how do you possibly know that? So mathematically, I wanted to know how things work. Physically, I wanted to know how things work. So it was just really intrigued me, and that kind of led to the nuclear part of things, because I was interested in the various elementary particles that are out there, and to this day, I still actually follow it.
When you were in school, you obviously thought about your future career. What were your goals when you were in college?
There were a couple. One was, did I want to continue on, get my PhD, go into the academic life? Two was to go to work for a defense contractor when I got out, and actually entertained for a little while going into the Navy in their atomic program. So got out of school and decided that I had taken some computer work while I was in school, and I thought, maybe there's a way to combine the two, and then all of a sudden I understood just how powerful computers were going to be for us and really started to concentrate on that.
Now, you eventually became a vice president of communications and engineering at NACC. How long did it take you from the time you graduated college to the time you became a vice president?
That took about 6 years.
I mean, that's pretty impressive to become a vice president in just 6 years. What qualities did you possess, or do you possess, that got you to that level?
My college faculty advisor enforced the fact that I had to learn how to communicate. I think that's the single most lacking skill people have is, can you get your thoughts across effectively? Can you put them down on paper? Can you put forth an argument that makes sense? I see it all the time when I talk with my clients. We have the best idea since sliced bread, but if you can't get it down on paper and communicate it effectively, you're just a failure.
When you interview people to work at KME Systems, what qualities are you looking for?
Can they communicate? That is the single most important thing, because we are in front of our customers day to day, either on the phone, virtually, on a video camera, whatever the case may be. If we can't listen well and communicate back, this is what we think you told us is wrong with your system, because people are calling us under high periods of stress. Something's broken. I can't get to my data. I can't make it do an email. I can't make a phone call. The last thing we want is somebody that can't listen properly and can't communicate. I'm working on it. I'm doing the best I can to help you.
Is there anything in the interview process that's an automatic turnoff for you? Maybe something they said or did not say that basically will not get them the job?
If I think they've come completely unprepared, and I know that's easy to say, but I would hope someone who's looked at our website and has kind of understood. If they say, gee, what do you really do in the IT business? That means that they just don't get it at all. So I'm just not interested at that point.
Do most of your technicians work in the office or are they on the road?
We do both. We do a lot of remote support, but there's just times when you have to, as we say in our business, roll the truck and go out there and meet with the customer, and that's kind of a fine line for us. You don't want to do everything remotely, because then they don't get, there's that human contact that the customer feels good, you're actually here doing something for me.
So how do you manage your employees, especially when they are on the road?
You use email, you use instant messaging, you use phones. You want to be careful that you're not bothering them too much.
That was my next question. If you micromanage your employees, it sounds like you don't. How difficult is it not to micromanage them?
If you try and do it all yourself, you either fail at sales, you fail at marketing, you fail at technical support. One of those things is going to suffer, and typically it's all three.
As president of KME Systems, how do you motivate your employees?
Well, we'll try and do a couple of things. One is give them a fun environment to work in. Sometimes people bring their dogs to work, that's okay. Simple things like that. Allowing them to dress casually but professionally. Sometimes we'll bring food in and just kind of have a pizza day or something like that. Or we'll go out and go to lunch as a group. And then give them interesting things to do. It's not the same thing every day here. You're always faced with a new challenge. And then we want them to do cross-training as well, so that people are learning a new task. Because if you're static and do the same thing, I think every single day, you get bored and you lose the enjoyment for the job.
How does dress code affect performance, if at all?
Yeah, it's very important. You have to be very careful about the culture that you're entering. Because if the culture is the dark suit, white shirt, dark tie, and you try not to do that, you're not going to fit in, and you're going to be perceived as inferior, and then you're going to go, gee, I'm really not fitting in. It's really important to find out what's important before you take the job. If you want to go to work in shorts and a t-shirt, you shouldn't go to work for certain organizations. You're just doomed to failure. So we try and keep it casual but professional in front of the client. But I think it really matters. You've got to come forward as professional. My engineers will do the same job in flip-flops and a t-shirt and a bathing suit. But that's not what the client wants to see.
This gets to your work ethic. What time of the day do you usually get up? What time do you leave the office? And is work pretty much 24/7 for you as president of the company?
Yeah, so I will get up probably around 6:30, and I'll get to work by 8:30. There's a lot of things I do. I'll read some, I'll check my emails at home, things of that nature. So I get to work between 8 and 8:30, but we open at 8 o'clock. So am I setting a bad example for the employees? I don't think so. They get it. They get that I may be here till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, or if I leave here at 6:30, I go home. I always have the BlackBerry going. People have to contact me constantly. And so I kind of joke. I tell them when I first started the business, my dad said, you get to choose, work half days, AM or PM. So that's kind of the thing that they understand, you work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and that's a half day.
How do you get a work-life balance, if at all?
In the beginning, there was no life-work balance. 80 hours a week, no ifs, ands, or buts. You had to get it done. You have to establish your customer base. But now I've really come to realize, before it was like, okay, it's all work. That's how it's got to be. That's how I was raised. It's just you work, work, work. Now if you don't relax a little bit and spend some time with the family, I realized, what's the point? Why are you earning money? Why are you doing this if all you're doing is going home? So one of the simplest things I do is if I'm going to take my wife out to dinner or go somewhere with family or friends, I'll leave the cell phone in the car. If I can't be unavailable for a couple of hours, then I've got the wrong team that I'm working with.
Do you find yourself on weekends thinking about work?
If I'm awake, I'm thinking about work. But it's a scale, right? What's going on? What isn't going on? Do we have a major fire that we're trying to put out for a customer? Are they satisfied that we're doing the best that we can for them. So anybody, I think, if you're a small business owner and you're not thinking about work, you're probably asleep or dead.
Thinking back to college, have you met or exceeded your expectations regarding your career?
I'd say I'm on the road. It's interesting because I wasn't sure that I would end up owning an IT company. It didn't cross my mind. It was an evolving thing. I knew that I wanted to learn a hard science and kind of get that ability inside of me so that I could do something with it. I think I am. But the goals are evolving. What my goals were 5 years ago are not what they are today. I think that's just a natural progression as you get older. So I'm satisfied on the path I'm on, but you meet certain goals and you go, okay, let's triple them and see if we can hit those as well.
And one last question, can you give our viewers one piece of advice regarding their careers?
It may sound trite, but it's do what you love. Because if you don't do what you love, then it is truly work. I enjoy coming to work. I enjoy the people that I work with. I like what we do. If you're going to get married, marry a spouse that likes what you do. Otherwise, if you will fall out of that life-work balance and it will just be catastrophic for you. I've seen that happen in some of the organizations I belong to. So again, not to sound cliche, but you've got to really want to do it. And if you don't, get out and do something else.